You know what they got here? They bagged the flag semi.
Hey, welcome back to the channel. As many of you know, we recently found and revealed to the world that we have the screen-used Dorsey trailer used in Night Rider. We also have the tractor, and we've finally been able to reunite them after 35 years, which is kind of crazy. So in today's video, we're gonna do two different things. First of all, we're gonna share with you some additional details we found on this trailer that we can tie back to when the trailer was on the show. Little defects, little cuts here and there, some drill holes, things that we can tie definitively back to the show. Not that you really needed any more proof that it is the correct trailer. I mean, we really laid it out for you in that last video, but we found a few additional things we think you might like. Also, we're going to spend a lot of time today talking specifically about the ramp and the ramp mechanism that's currently on the trailer. We're gonna do some investigating, put our detective caps on, and see if we can figure out if it is in fact the original ramp from the show or if it's been replaced. So join me, will you? Okay, so first, before we put the ramp down, let's take a look at what we've got here, right? So clearly the back looks different. In the show, it was all black. There were fake rods and handles, you know, to make it look like they were swing doors. There were fake hinges along the side, again, to make it look like swing doors. Now it's been replaced with this stainless steel backing piece, right? And also down below, this taillight panel. So that taillight panel is not original. It kind of looks similar to what was on there, but it's certainly not original. So what I'm gonna explain to you here about this door is this. We think, not 100% sure, but we're like 85.273% sure that this door is not the original door, unfortunately. And here's why we think that. We know, and we'll show you when we put the ramp down, that this door, the bottom is lower than where it should be. You see this panel right in here. You see how it's still black actually. These taillights should not be down here. They should actually be up here. Now these are the correct size taillights. These are 4-inch in diameter. So these are the correct size, but they're in the wrong place. The original configuration had a reflector here, which as you can see, the reflector is gone. This is just the adhesive backing. Reflector, and then 2 4-inch lights. Well, if you look here, this is not even 4 inches tall. The lights don't fit there. Now we know a factory Dorsey, this panel is actually about 10 inches tall. So why do we only see like 3.5 inches here? Well, you'll see whenever we open the door why this is so short right here. But this panel is not original. These lights should be up here, but you can see there's no room for it because there's hinges here. All right, so there's that. The other thing, which I don't know if you're gonna be able to see, maybe. We're gonna have to probably get up on a ladder, but right here, so where the top of the ramp is, there's a gap. There's about a 5-inch gap between the top of the ramp and the top of the trailer. Now, if you watch the show, there is no gap there. There's actually a panel that is filled in right there, so it's flush, and then the 3 marker lights are at the edge of that panel. Now, again, you can't really see because of the sunshine, but the 3 marker lights are in there, but they're in the recess panel. So this has all been kind of reconfigured. But, you know, if we think this whole door is lower than when it was on the show. And remember that gap, or the lack of a of the gap down here between the bottom of the door and the bottom of the taillight panel. So we think this door is moved down, but if the door was in its correct position, there would be no gap there. In fact, the door would go above the top of the trailer. So this door is too long this way. So now that I've kind of explained that, I know it's really confusing, but I've tried to explain that as best as I can. But let's pull the ramp down and then I'll show you what I mean on the inside and it'll make a lot more sense. So as you can see, it's not like on the show. You have to pull on the door a little bit to get it to go. See, not quite as smooth as you see on the show, but we got it down. All right, so a couple things here about the ramp and why we think it might not be the original. First of all, there were ramp extensions that came out of the inside of the ramp. And those extensions are, not only are they not here, that if you look, this is solid. There's nothing there. There's not even a place for those ramp extensions to come out. Now what you're saying is, well, maybe they just sealed this shut. And sure, maybe they did. We can see that on the show, the cables were not attached where they're currently attached. They were actually attached like back here, about a foot. But here is the really interesting thing. So as we go up this ramp and take a look here, do you see this panel right here? And you see how we've got the deck up here and then this is angled down, right? You see that? It's angled down to kind of match the door here. Well, on the show, we can see that this was not angled down. The deck was flat all the way out to the edge. And then there were the hinges were there and then then the ramp came down. So remember how I was talking about how the depth of that taillight panel should be about 10 inches? Well, if we look over here, there's that marker I was just telling you about, the reflector. Well, you can see here, this is about 10 inches and this is flush with the deck. So what happened was at some point when this trailer was modified, they actually cut out part of the floor here and put this angle in. So this floor should be, we're probably level to here, not here. Should be level up to here, which means these hinges should actually be up here a little bit. So if you think that through logically, right? If this whole area is up, then this ramp, when you close it, will be about this much taller, which is, I think, like 4.5 inches. Well, you move it all the way up there. See there, you can see the 3 reflectors in the middle. If you move this ramp, if this gets fixed and this is flush, pops the whole ramp up 4.5 inches, you're gonna be up there flush or a little above the top of the trailer, which is totally not right. So pretty sure that this entire door, unfortunately, is not the original door from the show. Now, a couple interesting things that we've uncovered. First of all, so the mechanisms, right? The winch mechanism. So if we go in here, there we get out of the sun. So currently the winches are housed in those 2 boxes and there's batteries here. when you watch on the show, there's a couple times you see the back end of the semi-open, and you can see none of this is here. Instead, right about there, there's a large 8-inch pulley on either side, and the cable runs through here, through the pulley, and then back into the darkness over there, and we never see what's back over there. Now, we suspect that it might have been like a hydraulic ram that was opening and closing, that was pulling and pushing on the cable. Not 100% sure, but the way the door opens and closes in the show, it's a little faster and it's a little smoother than it currently is. So this has all been completely replaced. Now, if we go out here, and if we look up top, do you see right in the middle, you see that little notch in the metal? So that is from the show. You can see that notch in the show, and that held what we think was a lock for the door, right? Because when this door is all the way closed, the only thing holding it closed are those cables. And that's not a very safe way to travel, right? So there had to be some locking mechanism, and that lock went right in there. Another thing about these cables is you see how they cut a square out right there for the cables to run through. On the show, the pulleys are mounted down below, and there is no cutout here. The pulleys ran underneath here and closed the door. So again, all this has been redone and replaced, and it all needs to be reverted back to its original. So those holes need welded shut. All that needs to come out. Need to get the right pulleys and get that whole system figured out. But you look in here and look, even though the trailer's white, there's all the original black right here in the, hey, you know what? Look at this. Breaking news. I don't know if you can see this. Let's see. There are marks here where the stripes used to be, I think. Is that what these are? Look, can you see this? There's the one line. There's the other. There's one. These might be where the stripes used to be. The stripes were 99% sure were vinyl. They weren't painted. They were vinyl stripes that were applied. And we can see in the show that they actually did wrap them around here and put them into these cavities. I don't know if you can see it on this side at all. I don't think so. We're gonna have to do some more research and see if those lines match up with where the stripes should be. That would be really, really cool. You know what? I'm feeling a little adventurous today. Why don't we drill out the rivets on one side of this diamond plate on the ramp and see exactly what's behind it, and maybe answer once and for all, is this the original ramp? If it is, we should find some evidence of ramp extensions. Okay, so I got that one panel moved. Those are a lot heavier than they look. But here is what's underneath. And I'm sorry to say, this is not the original door. It just isn't. I mean, the ramp extensions would be right in here, probably. And yeah, someone could have come in and welded those cross braces in, but we know that we've done some measurements and the ramp extensions were about 80% the length of the door itself. So I mean, they'd come all the way back to here. Now, when you look at this all looks like it was built together, right? I mean, I don't think these were scabbed in later, because you'd be able to tell the difference. They wouldn't look the same age as the rest. Plus, where's mechanism, or where's rollers or guides or something for those ramps to go in and out? And also, I think the ramps, I think the back of the ramp was connected by a bar here, because we know there was a winch underneath the deck, and the winch ran through a hole in the taillight panel through the bottom here, and would allow the ramps to be pushed and pulled. But none of that's here, right? That's all unfortunately been gone, which means this whole door has to come off, and we have to have a brand new door fabricated. That's gonna be fun, especially given the fact that all we have to go on are screenshots from the show. But we're working some angles there to see if, you know, maybe someone out there who built the original mechanism is still around and is willing to talk to us. Maybe there's some blueprints at the studio we could try and get, I don't know. But clearly this door is not original. Definitely not. That's a bummer. But, you know, at this point, we're kind of committed. So we will get this thing back to the way it was in 1986, no matter the cost. All right, well, now I don't know really what to do with this panel. I guess I'll just drag it up into the trailer for now, and we'll figure the rest out. So a couple other things we discovered, again, pointing towards its provenance. Remember how we talked about in our reveal video, this crease right here? Well, I don't know if you can see it. You might not be able to see it, but there's another crease right here that starts here and kind of goes up towards the top trim right there. So again, back on The Wrong Crowd, there's a scene where you see the side of the trailer and you can clearly as day see that other crease right there. So, and also if we look up here, this one's a little harder to see, but remember those 3 bolts we talked about? So if we count over, I think it's the 4th set of rivets over. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know if this is gonna come through, but you see there's a defect right here in the metal, right there. You can see that again in the episode. So another thing that we noticed, again, to kind of all this evidence, overwhelming evidence saying this is the trailer. Not that there's really been that many doubters. I mean, this is, you know, we put up a pretty good case, I think. But remember how we talked about the bar that they put along the side for the stuntman to climb up in The Wrong Crowd? Well, we just discovered that they also welded a bar on the top, just a handle, like a little ring, metal ring at the very, very top on the roof right here. And we saw it in a screenshot from The Wrong Crowd again. And when we saw it, we're like, did they actually put something up there? So what did we do? We climbed up on the roof, and sure enough, there's 2 holes where that bar used to be welded. Absolutely amazing. Okay, so a couple of the discoveries we made I want to show you. So let me just back up here. So we are in the back corner of the trailer on the passenger side. So if we go under here, we can see a couple different things. So hopefully they can't, yeah. See right there. See there's a hole right there and a hole right here. And I believe, yeah, there's another one right there and another one back here. So you might be wondering, well, those are just holes. What are they for, right? Well, if you watch the show, you can see there used to be a black box that was mounted right here with a little padlock on it. Now, we don't know what was actually in that box, but we know it was there. We can see it on the show. I think those holes held that box in place. Make perfect sense, right? The other thing we can see is a battery tray, actually a dual battery tray that used to hang right here. And it actually looked very similar to these battery trays. See how there's 2 of them? There's one here and one there. And now I don't think these are original, because the original ones had bracing in the corners and it doesn't look like anything's been cut here. But there were battery trays very similar to this that were welded here and hung down. And you can see it in the earlier seasons of the show. There were 2 giant red batteries here. By season 4, they had been replaced with gray batteries. But if we get down and look up in here, see this right here? There's evidence that something has been cut off right in this area. And I guarantee you that's what held the battery trays in, right? Next, if we go back here, do you see, and I'm not going to climb in here because it's, well, kind of disgusting, but right here, there's a bracket that's welded to one of the cross beams, and right at the bottom you can see something been like plasma cut off. That is where the original winch was located that controlled the ramp extensions. So the ramp extensions were separate. They were controlled separate from the ramp door itself, and that winch was mounted right there. All right, and this is quite possibly one of the coolest finds. So these three are the original belly boxes, right? We talked about this before. All this stuff was added later. These are the original belly boxes. Now, one thing, if you'll look at these belly boxes, you'll notice this one. See how it has this riveted on piece of aluminum right here? Let's take a closer look. This thing right here. None of the other boxes have that. So why is that there, you might ask? Well, let's open the door and take a look. Right there. So if we look at the other side of the door, we can see that the door was cut incorrectly whenever it was constructed. It was basically cut at an angle right here, which wasn't going to work. So what did they do? Well, they grafted this on a nice straight piece to kind of give it a finished look, okay? Now, believe it or not, we can spot this piece on the semi in the show in the episode Hearts of Stone. Isn't that amazing? It's so amazing how we can see something on the show and come out here and see it and tie it to the actual semi. So a restoration of this magnitude, as you can imagine, is going to take tons of resources, both time, labor, money, you name it. So if you're interested in helping, there's a few ways you can do that. First of all, share this video, right? The more people that see it, the more help we can potentially receive. Check out our GoFundMe page. There's a link in the description below and a link, right above my head here. And all of the proceeds from that go directly into the restoration of the trailer and the tractor from Knight Rider. And we're also looking for donations of labor, right? We need help with tear down. We really need help with metal fabrication. We need help with paint and body and paint removal. We got to remove all this white paint. So if you or your company is interested in sponsoring any part of this restoration, please reach out to us at nightriderhistorians@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. All right, so there you have it. As you can see, the ramp, unfortunately, is going to have to be completely recreated from scratch, which, while that's unfortunate, you can guarantee that we're going to make you guys all proud. And by the time we're done, you're not going to be able to tell that it's not the original ramp. And also, I hope you enjoyed some of these other secrets we found in the trailer that tie it back to the way it was back in the 80s when it was being used for filming. And I guarantee you, we're not done with those discoveries yet. We barely started to tear this thing apart. So hope you enjoy it. If you like this, please subscribe. Please tell your friends that Knight Rider Historians is the place to be. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.